administration here in his university. Through this role, Abubakar has developed strong organizational as well as communication and leadership skills with clear focus on accountability and impact. Beyond student politics, Abubakar is a content creator, a football enthusiast, as well as business-focused professional. He also he is a he manages a fuel station, so you can meet him, submit your account number, and you can do something. Fuel money, yeah, thank you very much. Where he applies his practical management, his practical management and operational skills. So, Ahmed Abubakar, you're welcome, sir. All right, without much ado, I will direct my next questions before the question to you, sir. Okay, my next question to you is, what key competencies or what is the future that you think distinguish a leader? Is there anything that you think a global leader from, just use the word local leader, because we have leaders in every class actually. So we have a community leader, but here we are dealing with global leader. Do you think there is a there is something that distinguishes a global leader from other leaders?
As it was said in the introduction, Comrade Adamu Isa, I think what distinguishes a global leader from a local leader is that special ability to use modern tools to achieve end product. As it is, geography is decoupled from opportunity. A developer in Lagos can out-earn a bank. So, that ability is local resources for maximum benefit is what defines a global leader. Thank you.
Very much, sir. Okay. Still on that, sir. Pull us some of the things a global leader need to have. What's my next opinion? What do you think is different apart from possessing these skills that Ahmad just told us? Just say right now. Do you think there is anything that a global leader will do or can do different from other leaders or global leaders?
Well, going by the theme of this summit, that strategic positioning for global impact, there is a difference between leading for a local impact and global impact. As a leader, the distinguishing factor between the two is if you position yourself to address local problems within your immediate community. That means you are leading for a local impact. But if you scale impact to global stage by networking with experts and people of common interests across the globe, embracing technology, because artificial intelligence and digital transformation are actually here to stay. And the difference between we should detest or go against their adoption, because they are here to stay. Nowadays, it's either you are a human being plus AI, or you are human alone. And no matter what, human plus AI will always outcompete human. I think that's
beautiful. All right, thank you very much for that. Uma, I will come to you. Apart from what you just said, do you think there is a way strategic positioning can help someone to be a global leader or achieve that position? Strategic positioning to do this?
Let's first understand what these concepts mean. What does it mean to position yourself strategically? Right. So, as a leader, I'm of the opinion, and in my experience, you need, like what I mentioned earlier, you need to have vision, you need a goal. What is your goal? When you have defined your goal, what do you want to achieve, as you are leading this group of people? When you have ascertained that vision, you know to now yourself can be connecting with people who have gone ahead of you, whether physically or online, reaching out to these people or studying, right? I think also because positioning yourself doesn't just mean lobbying or trying to, this person has gone ahead of me, let me just see what I can get. No. Leadership, whether globally or locally, there's a heart for leadership. So when that heart is there, then you understand that, okay, ahead of me, I'm going to position myself in a way that, okay, I will see what I can learn from this person. And then also position yourself in the aspect of learning. I think as a leader, the most important thing is for you to understand the concept of learning, unlearning, and relearning. So once you understand these concepts, you're saying, okay, I'm positioning myself in this aspect of understanding what my community is saying, understanding what I can do better, how I can be better as a leader, and then also looking up to these people who've gone ahead of me, and then learning, drawing inference from them, learning how I can be a better leader for the good of people I'm leading.
Thank you very much for that one. Thank you. Learning, unlearning, and relearning. I think it's a very nice point. So can you please give the mic to Mr. Vice President? I know him from the student union level, so he's a friend, a very good friend of mine. So thank you very much. You have been a leader and you started, even from the little things I read about you here, you started from your department or at the departmental level. That means, let me use the word, you have been a leader from the grassroots level. So I still want to ask, do you think there are steps that one can take to attain the global leadership? And what do you think are those steps that one can do? Let's say a starter, somebody that have never held any position. Do you think there are steps to attain that position? And what are those steps? So.
Okay, my name is Obi-Nwafor, the Vice President of the National Union of Animal Students. So the steps I think local leaders, let's say local leaders, there are things that we need to adapt. That's like this guy said, AI and all of that to make the global. And the most important thing that we need to do is networking. We need to network here and beyond, not within Nigeria, beyond Nigeria, to be a good and effective leader.
Thank you very much. We need to
Networking is very important.
Very important. Thank you very much for that one. So if you leave this place without knowing anybody is your problem, then you are not ready. So try as much as possible to meet, one or two people. Networking is important. He came late, but he also understands the importance of networking. Thank you very much for that answer. So over to you, sir. I would like to ask, how important is visibility when it comes to leadership, like global leaders? Is there a role visibility can play, and how can somebody be visible? Because how can I, from Yola, attain that level? But how does visibility play?
What a beautiful question, right? Yes. I think that visibility is at the core of success. To the extent to which you can be seen is the extent to which you will succeed to a large extent, right? Because if you cannot properly position yourself to be seen, then no matter how impactful you can be, no matter how much of resources and benefits and beautiful things you have on the inside, nobody will see it, you understand? And that's why it's important that as much as you... And another thing about visibility is this: before you think about getting visible, you must have mastered your craft. Most people are very, very interested in the visibility part, and then they forget that before you come to the stage and talk your home, you understand, and say you can't bypass the process. So before you talk about going global, talk about being visible, talk about putting yourself out there, it is important that first of all you do your homework, put the work, practice, learn what it is that you have, whatever skill that you're already doing, refine that skill so well, polish it so well that anytime an opportunity comes to you, you're ready to deliver on the spot. And then when you're sure that you've done all of that, now that's where you can now talk about visibility, and that's where social media comes in. We're in a better age, and that's why we're organizing a conference like this, where we talk about strategic positioning for global impact. Your social media is important as well, because the person in the United States may not know you, but the person can be able to check you up online. You understand? Then it was harder because then you had to rely solely on referrals. Somebody has to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody before you get to the end, but not can bypass, and then you can even send a DM now on X. You can send a DM or even send a post and tag Donald Trump, and he reply. We've had Nigerians tag Elon Musk, and he actually replies them. That is something that you could never have thought about you can't send a message to your person. How do you even, there's no platform to be able to do that. And right now we have such platforms that says you can send a message today and then able to get the real man involved to reply you. I mean, I don't know what level of advancement that is. That's just an example of visibility. But we're saying that take advantage of what you have and then put yourself out there using social media. That's one of the goals I'm saying.
All right, sir. Holy Mike, I think I still have a question for you, but before saying it, I just want to add to what you say. I think going forward, I don't know, but with the way things are evolving, your social media is more like your curriculum video. Because, yes, I've seen a lot of cases where even when people go for this application, I've been there once, so to ask your social media handle. So from your social media handle, what are 15, 20, pick up someone to post you, and it's actually have a way of hunting, the young people these days. So just like somebody rightly said, the media never forgets. And you never know that there are pictures or videos of you on somebody and what the world believes in. So still on that, what do you think leaders or we aspiring to lead or become of that global standard need to do? Or do you think there is a plan we can have, let's say, a short-term plan, a short what somebody can start doing? Because what we are saying here is something we want to start to do. Do you think there is a plan, or what can somebody do within the space of 12 months that can
to be globally relevant? This is the practical part of this session. You understand? It's very important because when we're coming up with the theme of the event, it's one thing to put out a very flashy theme out there, but understanding the practicality of it is what makes it beneficial and valuable to the attendees, right? So when we talk about strategic positioning for global impact, we're saying that how can you begin at where you are right now, today, to begin to plan for the future? And now how you do that in practical terms, this is what I was supposed to have talked about in my session, but good thing I'm talking about it now. The first thing, like she said, is that you have to understand where you're going. If you don't have a picture, you can't know where you're going, you can't get there. Even if you get there, you will not know that you're there because there's no picture, there's no destination in your mind. So the first thing is to draft out what you want to achieve. What does impact for you mean? All right, what does it mean to you when you say I want to make an impact? What it means for me is not what it may mean for Ms. Sharon here. What it means for Mr. Kali, right? May not be what would be for Mr. Philip, right? So that's the individuality of this. So you must first of all go to yourself, go within, search for what is within you, what potentials do you have personally. With that potential, with that understanding in mind, then you begin to refine your gift, you begin to practice, you begin to learn, you begin to put in work to be better at what you do. That is the 1 year plan, that process of preparation. So maybe you've been doing the preparation before now, what now happens is that once you've done the preparation, you believe that you've done the preparation. The next thing is to now begin to market yourself. Because if you cannot market yourself, then of what use is your preparation? So it goes both ways. So this is why conferences like this are important. You put in the work in yourself. Now you come into meetings like this and organizations and settings like this where other people are here who are also putting the work with themselves. Iron sharpened iron, right? So you put one mind here, we rub minds together. I mean, imagine the kind of impact that we would have. So that's just what I feel.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that one question. Mike, I have a question for you. Just in maybe 20 seconds, tell us how a technology is actually reshaping leadership. Since we are.
Well, what do you say, 20 seconds?
Okay, let's see.
But I still want to add on that issue of visibility because it's very important. Though they are still related to this question, right? If you are visible, if you are that visibility, if you are not visible, that means you are invisible. And if you are invisible, that means people may not know what we can do. Through LinkedIn, I am currently the ambassador of Integrated Aerial Precision, a partnership with DJI Drone Technology in China. That's one thing. But how? That should be the question. Because I'm visible, I show what I can do. You see, this LinkedIn optimization, you talk about how to. That is one important thing. One of my friends in the university followed me on LinkedIn. So when I scroll through his profile, the only thing I can find is one post. He posted online, but is he leveraging platforms to show his work? That is the problem. You have to learn how to optimize your social media handles.
How technology is there a technology is shaping technology?
Well, technology, rather you can say digital transformation. I have to crave your indulgence because my response will be centered around my niche. So let's take, for example, globally, the wheat yield is about 3.5 tons per hectare. But in Nigeria, and it's not because we don't have the soil, it's not because we don't have the manpower, but the only difference is the precision gap. By simply using or adopting DJI thermal of salinity, what salinity could be early detected, which would surely improve the yield by 40%. So you can see
before we come to my boss, a way and can somebody do without artificial intelligence? Can somebody do without artificial intelligence?
Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of AI, to be honest, because I'm a writer, and what AI has done is that it has dampened the essence of creativity and innovation. I'll also speak from my niche. I'm in school. So I was having a session with the freshmen, and I asked them a question. When you are asked a question like, okay, what is a cat? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is the first thing that comes to your mind, oh, let me quickly ask ChatGPT, or, what is a cat actually? So AI is here to stay. We've been told so many times, yes, it's here to stay. However, for me, I think the most important thing is understanding what AI can do for you, right? And being disciplined about it, right? So it is, AI can do good things and it can also be bad as well. So some things that have an advantage also have a disadvantage. So understand what these AI tools, how they can help you as a leader, but do not let it steal your brain.
Thank you very much. In a competitive world, you need to embrace AI, despite the fact that a lot of people have learned to depend on it. So handing back to my leader here. So I want to spend we have less than 10, but I want to ask you, is there a need for a mindset shift from becoming a local leader to a leader as a global level, mindset shift? And do you think there are discipline or there are actions that are necessary to take? I don't understand it.
All right. There is every need for that. As someone that wants to make it out there, you need to do a personal audit of yourself. Know what you want, have a target. If you have a target, it is going to make the journey very, very easy. You know, you are looking at, okay, maybe in the next 3, 4, 5 years, I want to be there. So